Hello everyone. I have been asked by a couple of people to show how I use Excel to create my threading sheet so I can mark off each heddle as they've been threaded. This will help to prevent a lot of the threading errors that happen to us all. I am happy to say that it has really cut down on the threading errors that I make. First, you'll need to open a new blank document in Excel. I have already done so. Your ribbon should then be set to always show ribbon over in the right hand corner. Click the down arrow, always show ribbon for the purposes of this demonstration so you can easily follow along. Also, I have already copied the design I'll be showing you today to my clipboard, so I am now going to do a Control V to paste the picture into the spreadsheet. You can do this if you've already got it on your computer, or you can simply have your particular pattern next to you on your desk or on your lap, just something so that you can refer back and forth to it as you need to. So click in the upper left-hand corner with the angled arrow to highlight the entire spreadsheet. With your mouse pointer, hover between A and B in the columns until you get the double pointer, and then click and drag to the left until you get to 20 pixels. Yes, I chose 20 because the rows are automatically set to 20 in my program, and this makes the height and the width of these grids equal. This gives us the graph that we want to see. I can click on my picture and move it back and forth, and I will be doing so throughout this demonstration. If you have any questions on that, please feel free to mention it in the comments, and I will do my best to respond as I can. To begin, we're going to click on cell A2 and drag it down to highlight to A9. These cells will begin our 8 harnesses. If you only have 4 harnesses, just highlight A2 through A5 so that you've got your 4 harnesses listed. I always leave the very top row blank so I can add additional brackets if I want to. In this particular instance, I am not going to do that. I don't need it. Up in the ribbon area under font, there is a border option. Click on the down arrow next to the borders selection and choose all borders. Then in cell A2, type 8 and hit the down arrow. Then type 7, down arrow, 6, down arrow, 5, and so on until you get all of your 8 harnesses complete. Highlight those cells again. Then go back up to your ribbon so you can change your colors and your alignments. You'll click on the 2 center alignments so that you've got them vertically and horizontally centered. And then go over to your font color, which is the big A, down arrow, and click on white. This will hide all of those numbers while leaving the numbers still there. While the cells are still highlighted, hover over the small box at the bottom right of the last highlighted cell until you see a solid plus sign instead of the open one. Click and drag for however many treadles your design calls for. Mine calls for 10. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Release the mouse button and the grid will fill in. Following along on your tie up, as I said, I'm going to click and drag my picture around. Here's the tie up. Click on each box you need to tie up, and then we're going to change the color to a dark gray. For instance, in my pattern, you can see the first row has 1, 3, 5, and 7 marked. So I will choose those boxes over here in my grid and then change the color. By holding down the control button as you're clicking, you can highlight all of those at the same time and then you can click on the color and then change the color to whatever you'd like. I like to use a dark gray. Notice how all the white numbers all of a sudden are visible? We're going to do that now for the entire tie-up. We are now finished with the tie-up. Don't forget to save your spreadsheet file. Save as. I'm going to go to my personal drive, into my documents. I'm going to scroll down to, where am I going to do that? Weaving, of course. Projects, and I'm going to call it, let's see, let's go with brown and blue trim, and I'm going to save it. So always remember to hit save afterwards. Since I saved it to my OneDrive, it will continue to be saved automatically and updated. Okay. Clicking and dragging on the picture, again, allows me to move it out of the way for the next step. Just like we did for the tie-up, we will be highlighting 8 more rows in a single column, creating the exact same grid as before, only this time we'll be dragging it out to a larger number of columns. To make it easier, I am going to highlight that first column, column for our tie-up. I'm going to do a Control-C to copy and paste it into a new column. Before I click anything else, I'm going to change the color up here to no fill. Okay? Then you will click and drag over to the right for however many columns you need based on your pattern. This is a fairly easy pattern, but it does call for 61 columns. Ready? Here we go. We're going all the way over here. 61 columns is there. As soon as I get there, I can unclick my mouse. I can release that mouse button, and the grid fills in again. You can double check to make sure that you have the right number by simply highlighting. You highlight the very last row, the row all the way across, and then come down here and you can see your count is 61. I needed 61 and I have 61. As we did before, you will then start clicking in each of the boxes to change the color to the appropriate color. This particular pattern calls for a single color of warp thread, blue, but if you have multiple colors, you can certainly choose the appropriate color thread for each petal as you go along. So, again, if I want to, I can hit, as soon as I hit the first one, I can hit Control and then click each of my boxes as I go along, and you can see that it is choosing each of them at the same time. If you accidentally choose one, click on it again and it unchooses it. So that's nice. Okay, so now, let's see, I'm going to add that. So now we've got our first set. Come up here to the color, and since it's blue, we're going to change it to blue. I'm going to make it a dark blue so that I can see those numbers really easily. If, on the other hand, I chose a lighter blue simply because it is a light blue and I can't see those numbers very easily, I can come up here and change it to automatic, and then they will turn black for me, only on those ones that are currently highlighted. I do like the darker colors, however, so I'm going to choose the darker color. Now, as I said, if I wanted these next sections, for instance, the middle, to be a different color, I can highlight all of all of the ones that I want. And instead of choosing blue, if I wanted them to be green, I could make them green. Okay, I do want them all to be blue, however, so we'll change that back to blue. And continuing on, again, I'm hitting the Control button so that as I move forward, I can simply highlight every single box that I want highlighted as I need it. And the last 3 there. And we're changing those to blue. Okay, now we have this. And guess what? Hit the save button. This graph represents one full iteration of the pattern, but this is only 61 petals. At 24 ends per inch, that's only 2.5 inches wide. What if I wanted a full-size towel? Multiply that out then. You want a towel that's 20 inches in the reed? I would need 488 ends, which is 9 full iterations of this pattern. So let's do that. First, I need to move the original picture out of the way, so I am going to move it off to the right-hand side out of view of the main pattern area by clicking and dragging it. Again, it's still there if I need to reference it, but it's out of the way at least. We're going to highlight the entire grid for my heddles. I'm going to do a Control-C to copy it, and notice that there's a dashed line all the way around what I want to copy. Come down here to L12, and I need 9 iterations of this total. So we have 1, now we have 2. I'm doing a Control-V to paste. 3, 4, scroll down. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now I have every single heddle listed here for an easy to follow graph to mark off each thread as you pull it through its specific heddle. So to print this, you simply highlight the entire piece that you want printed. So I will start down here. I just want the threading pattern, so that's what I'm going to highlight. I'll start at the bottom right, and then I will click and I will drag my way all the way up. It's a little slow, to the top left, okay? So I'm going to then come up here and I'm going to click on Page Layout in the ribbon to print area, clicking on the down arrow there, Set Print Area. You'll probably notice a dashed line going through the center. I've already got mine set up for orientation layout of landscape, but if you do not, if you've got a portrait, you'll see it a dashed line down here as it hits a page break for portrait. So if you want to put this all into a single page, it requires a different layout option. To do that, open up your page setup portion of the ribbon in Page Layout, go to the bottom right-hand corner, click on that arrow, then you'll choose Landscape, which I've already got. You'll choose Fit to 2 pages tall. I have this normally set, which is why it already is. It will probably start here, but click on the Fit to 1 page wide by 2 tall. It's a good guess to begin with. Then click Print Preview. And you'll notice that everything is actually on these 2 pages. But if it doesn't happen to be on the 2 pages, if you do need to make any adjustments, you can change to a different landscape orientation. You can change your margins if you want to. Or if you just need to change the page break, for instance, the page break hits right here in the middle of this iteration of the section, you can make that change. I'll show you how to do that. So you click your back arrow and then go to View and Page Break Preview. It will open up in a new window and you will see this dashed line. When you hover over the line, notice how my plus sign turns into a double arrow going up and down. Click on that and you can drag that page break wherever you want it to. So now I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 iterations on the first page and then 5 iterations on the second page. Okay, so you can change that up and down. So if for some reason your page break happened to be right in the middle of one of these sections, go ahead and move that so that it's out of the way so that all of your section is on the same page. Okay, then go back up to view and go back to normal, and you'll be able to see the regular spreadsheet as you did before. And you are now ready to print out your heddle threading pattern. You would go to File, Print, choose whatever printer you want, and then hit Print. And it will go ahead and print that out for you so that you have a wonderful, easy way to watch your heddles and mark them off as you're threading them. The final piece of my spreadsheets are for the treadling printout. I've already created the tie-up, right? So now we can simply fill in the grid underneath the tie-up in a similar manner. I'm going to move my picture back over so I can reference it more easily. And I'm going to click on cell A1 and highlight across the entire section to row J. As before, I come up here to the home, and I'm going to choose my borders, all borders, to make the first part of the grid. In A11, I'm going to type a 1. A12 is going to be 2. Move it over, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I have 10 treadles, so this is my treadling printout, so I need to have all 10 of these treadles set up. Again, I'm going to highlight them all over, come back up here to my alignment, and I'm going to center them vertically and horizontally. And I'm then going to, again, change the color to white. All right, we're going to click on the small box at the bottom of the highlighted section, but this time I'm going to click it and drag it downwards. I need 61 rows of the pattern because it matches the pattern. The treadling pattern matches the heddle pattern. Okay, so I need 61 rows, so I'm going to highlight this all the way down to row 71. There we go, and I'm going to release, and again, the grid fills in. As with the heddles and the threading, you will click each treadling individually to create your treadle pattern. So for instance, I am going to start up here, and I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hit Control, click, click, and then I need to come down here to 3, and now I start the rest of the pattern. Okay? And again, I have the Control button held down as I click on every single treadle that I need to press during these times. Okay, I've got that good, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to highlight that into a darker color. I'm going to move you down here. I'm going to scroll down. I'm just using the wheel of the mouse in order to scroll down, although I could come over here and use the scroll bar if I wanted to. I am lazy. Laziness breeds efficiency. I use the scroll wheel. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we come back down. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight those quick before I screw up, because I do that. Nobody's perfect. Least of all me. I make so many mistakes. Okay, again with the scroll wheel. And I'm amused that you actually can't see the rest of the pattern here. But we all know how it ends because it matches this one. So come down here, and we're going to come up, and then back down, and then we've got the last 3, which are those. And done. Does that look right? That looks right to me. Okay, so again, I'm going to save it. You might notice that I do not have these first 2 rows highlighted in any way, shape, or form. That is because I have my tie-up set to a tabby weave or plain weave. That makes it easy to start and finish a set of towels or washcloths or even a scarf if you want to. And I will use those treadles exclusively for hems with this particular pattern. And that will just be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 for probably about 1.5 inches on each end of the towel. Again, to print just the treadling so you can tape it to the loom, you will highlight, and I'll actually start up here. You will highlight the entire section all the way down to the bottom. Okay, go to page layout, print area, set print area, and then this is what is going to actually print. So it all fits on the same page. Page setup. This time we're going to want portrait because it is an up and down kind of thing. We're going to fit it, adjust to, we only want one tall this time, right? We're going to hit OK. And then when I do a file print, you will be able to see that I've got the entire thing printed, and I can cut that out and I can put that onto my loom. So at this point, I will move my picture completely out of the way. It's still there, but I will move it out of the main portion of the frame, or else I'll add a new worksheet and paste it there so I have it for the future. I also like to do a heddle count for each harness, as well as the ends per inch, how wide in the reed, etc. to my pattern pages, so I don't have to do all of those calculations again. I would typically put them over here underneath of the picture, or sometimes on top of the picture. So I would say EPI for this particular strings that I'm going to be using, the yarn, would be 24. Heddle count, I would do harness 1, harness 2, and then I simply count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 9, and then I would write all of this down over here in the corner. I would save my spreadsheet, and that's it. Hopefully this video has helped, and if you have any questions, again, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Have an absolutely wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Bye.